Welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. I'm Karen Scott Green.
And I'm Kat Hardrick, and we have the honor and pleasure of being here with Miss Rita Daniels. She is the great grandniece of Harriet Tubman and is the president and founder of the Harriet Tubman Learning Center based in Powder Springs, Georgia. She earned her master's degree in education and her bachelor's degree in human resources and graduated cum laude. All right now. That's right. And Miss Rita's mission is to promote the education and undeserved children, and so that no child suffers. I love everything that you do with the Learning Center. So, Miss Daniels, thank you. And I just want to jump right on in and tell everybody just a little bit about yourself. From how did you find out that you were an ancestor of Harriet Tubman?
Well, it just so happens that I was around 9 years old, and I lived in Auburn, New York, where Harriet Tubman lived the last 50 years of her life. Mm-hmm. And during that time, out of 18 students in my classroom, there were 3 Blacks, and I was one of them. And I was given, each of us were given a Black person to write about. And I was given Harriet Tubman. Now, everybody else had a chance to pick who they wanted, but I had to do Harriet Tubman. And of course, during my time, the only thing that I read about Harriet Tubman back then was she was a fugitive. There was a bounty on her head, and she stole slaves. That's the no-no. So, and I have to write about this woman, and I was very upset about it. And I went home and I told my mom, and she said, Mom, I have to write about this woman, Harriet Tubman, and look at all the things she did. Mm-hmm. She was a fugitive, and my mother looked at me and she says, Rita, you're not going to believe this, but we are related to Harriet Tubman. I'm looking at her like, what?
Wow.
We're related to her. And I said, what do you mean? I'm related to someone who did all these things. And so she says, well, I didn't find out until I was 21 that we were related to Harriet Tubman, and it went through the family. Everyone in my mother's family were 5-year difference. So there were 5 kids, 5 years apart from each. And my Aunt Pauline, who is now the oldest living relative of Harriet Tubman, she was 25 and she found out, but she did some more research. And my mother said, what you're reading in this story in the book at school is not the Harriet Tubman that I grew up to know, or when she turned 21. She says, she was a phenomenal woman. This woman is the reason why we are here today. And that is because we are related to her. And my mom went on to tell me that her grandmother was Harriet Tubman's favorite niece.
Wow. So please tell us the family connection.
The family connection, well, I'm going to just say we have my family tree is in our book. And I will tell you, it starts with Modesty, who happens to be Harriet Tubman's grandmother. Harriet Tubman had a master that purchased her and gave her the name Modesty. So no one really knows what that name was before she came over on the transatlantic, let's say, cruise. We're going to call it a cruise. Okay?
We're going to call it a cruise.
So when she came over on that cruise ship, chained and all that kind of stuff,
When she was human trafficked.
She was human trafficked. And they were chained next to each other. The women were on one side, the men on the other. But she was taken from her home, the home of Ghana, Africa. And that's all she knew. But when she left there, of course, they couldn't speak the language either. African language versus English or any other language. So when she came, out of her determination and her strength, she was determined to make it to wherever they were taken. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew that she had to survive, whatever it was. And so we found out that we were related to her in Auburn, New York, is where I'm from. There's where Harriet Tubman lived the last 50 years of her life. So we're all relatives, related somehow. And that is where my mother told me, I need you to talk to your grandma and other family members who know more than she does, because they were able to tell the story a little bit more than my mom did, because she was 21, she found out. So that pretty much is how I found out. And when I did my report, by the time I was done getting all this research and all this information, I'm like, I'm not so mad now. But my school did not tell all of that. They
never,
that.
So they'll never tell of our greatness. Have you been able to document the family relationship through the use of the U.S. Census data?
I did not. I went through, first of all, it was a DNA. I did one of that. And family members from the family tree. And then another relative had a part of a family tree. So we put all this information together. And so in my book, it does have the family tree. Now, we don't have it where it spreads out this far because it's huge. We start with Modesty, and it goes on down to Modesty having a daughter, Henrietta. Henrietta marries Ben Ross. They have 9 children. And of her children, there was a Sophie who gave birth to another relative. And it just went on. And so she's been gone for over 100, almost 200 years. So when it gets down to me, of course, I'm a 3 times great niece of Harriet Tubman.
So you are descendant of Henrietta?
No, Henrietta is the mother of Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
So Harriet Tubman had 9 children, and of her 9 children, one of her children, Sophie, is the person that we are related. That's her sister, Harriet's sister.
Okay. So you are direct descendant of Sophie, her sister.
Well, the family of it, yeah.
Okay. All right. I am a genealogy buff. That is that's my passion for my family. So I've been in the stacks when it comes to census data and documenting stories that my father had told me. So I get all excited about.
So yeah, when I did my DNA and everything, it takes me all the way back to Ghana and everywhere else, and also. Of course, they didn't get her DNA at that time, but it was her family members. So of her family members, they're all related. We're all related.
I love it. Can I ask this first?
Yes.
Do you know where in Ghana Modesty is from? Like what tribe or what the region?
The Ashantis. Asantis.
Okay.
So my girlfriend here, she just came back from Ghana, honey. So
I did.
And I'm trying to make that trip. See, my mother, my aunt, they all went, a few years. Well, actually, it was about 10 years ago. My mom passed away 4 years ago in 2020.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And she was she spearheaded me in getting the Learning Center together and getting that started. And we did. It was perfect. During COVID, well, we started in 2016, and my mother did not pass away with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but it was during COVID while she was in the hospital where they had
Mm-hmm.
COVID, and they were still trying to figure stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
My mother passed away during that time.
Mm. Sorry to hear that.
Mm.
Sorry to hear that.
So I took a
And
break for a couple years because it was very difficult. My mom stayed with me the last 6 months of her life, and I'm from a family also of 9 children who
mm-hmm.
all lived in New York.
That was my
My
next question.
mother's
How
here in
many
Georgia.
siblings?
Hmm.
Yeah. My question was going to be how many siblings you have. So I'm glad you jumped right into that. You have 9?
Just like Harriet, there were 9 children in her family, and
Mm-hmm.
in mine it was 9. And it's so funny because Harriet's mother, her name is Henrietta, but they called her Rit.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother said, Rita, you have a correlation with her name. The first 3 letters is Rita, R-I-T. So I want you to keep on going, keep going, do the Harriet Tubman legacy, keep the legacy going. And she also said, just always remember that people can have schools with Harriet Tubman name on it. They can have all kinds of things with the Harriet Tubman name, but it's not the same as having a relative of Harriet Tubman who can continue the legacy. Anyone can continue the name, but the
Mm-hmm.
legacy of Harriet Tubman is what we're prone to doing.
Amen.
So, Miss Daniels, tell us about the Learning Center. Where is it located and how it was established?
So, the Harriet Tubman Learning Center, we are located on the Harriet Tubman Learning Center.org. It's not but it's Harriet Tubman Learning Center.org. And
Mm-hmm.
on that, I've kept that website going. Um, we started in 2015 putting things together. However, um, we didn't open officially until 2016. We had to get all the
Mm-hmm.
documents and things together. But the purpose of the Harriet Tubman Learning Center was to create a center for the underserved and underprivileged children. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And because Harriet Tubman was not given the um, opportunity to learn how to read or write, it was
Mm-hmm.
against the law during those days. And so even today, we have children passing, just moving on, no child left behind,
Mm-hmm.
but they're moving on without having the education that they need in order to do that. And
Right.
so the Learning Center was to emphasize mostly the belief of making sure that our children get the education that they're lacking in regular school. So we worked with these school systems, and they would send us the failing children, children
Mm-hmm.
who are not reading at grade level. We had
Mm-hmm.
third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, um, children that needed tutoring, mentoring. We had STEM, science, technology, um, economics, and math. That's not right. Let's see. I'm older, so
That's okay, girl. Look, that's okay.
the thing is, people don't realize I'm 70 years old,
You look
but
so good.
70
You
where,
look,
ma'am?
I know, right?
my hand is up.
Yeah.
It's just the genes, some skin colors just don't crack. But I'm
I love
just saying, speaking out. But you know, the thing is, I and my mother, we both worked together in getting this center open, and we were getting children who would basically fail, and were going to fail that year.
Mm-hmm.
But now the school is not open. We have not been able to reopen. And a lot of it was because of funding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're a 501c3. Families did not have to pay to come to the Learning Center.
Mm-hmm.
I use my retirement. I use my funding. Family members did the same thing because we did not want certain organizations or government as well determining what we teach in our learning center. We want them to understand Black history. We
That's
want
right.
them, we want them to know what journey their family members went through to be, to become a free individual. Who was it that led that? So for me, it was Harriet Tubman. All the things that she went through that got her to a point of being able to see that she can be a free woman coming from Philadelphia. I'm sorry, making it to Philadelphia,
Facts.
to Maryland on foot. And so that was her mission. And her journey to freedom and efforts were basically just to guide others so that they can connect deeply to the work done at their, let me just take that back, making sure that they were able to get the freedom that they were entitled to.
Yes.
She led them and guided them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that they can be free as well.
That's
They
right.
reenacted. Mm-hmm.
Miss Daniels, it is so important that the message of what you were trying to achieve at the center is heard during this day and times when there is a direct attack on learning of Black history and the elimination of our history in this country. And we were more than slaves. Yes, we were enslaved and trafficked into this country and throughout the diaspora, but we also are the foundation of this country and did great things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's they're trying to erase that. So how can we and listeners and anyone who's so inclined donate to help you get your doors back open because we need you. We need
Amen.
the Harriet Tubman Learning Center. How can folks donate to you?
Well, number one, I want them to get the book, but inside there's a QR code so they can donate. Thank you. They can donate in that QR code, or you can go to our website, harriettubmanlearningcenter.org. There is a place where you can donate to the Learning Center as well. There's 5 states right now, they're basically cities that want a learning center in their city. Connecticut, Philadelphia, DC, of course, Auburn, and of course, I got to have one here in Georgia. But because that's where we started here in Georgia. But the other thing too is getting the Learning Center back open. It's going to take a lot of people coming together with the goal of trying to make sure that it does get reopened. We had a building that it was donated to us, but we lost that. So there's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to get back on track. And I've got people who want to work with us and so forth. But right now, I'm still waiting for the donations to come in. It's
Yes.
important. We can't do, I don't have any more retirement.
Right.
I
And
have
that's
social
very, yeah, we don't want you to while this work is very important, we still want you to be able to thrive. And this is why our show
And
and
eat.
our say hello. We look at our show as a ministry, and this is why we're doing this. And God is so
Thank you.
good to,
Yeah.
allow our paths to cross again, so that you can, be in our love seat and share your story and look at it. It's at the right time too, because guess what? God said we're gonna have this seat after you write this book. And so now people can go out and purchase this book, go to the website, go to the Harriet Tubman's LearningCenter.org and purchase the book. And could you tell folks while I would love people to read this book, but what's so special in this book? Because tons and tons of people have wrote books about Harriet Tubman, but
Mm-hmm.
you now have been able to, and I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, how many people were part of her family who wrote the book, besides just historians. But you being a descendant, I'm sure with your kitchen table talk with your family, learning all of the personal intricacies of Harriet Tubman and who she is as a human being, what's in this book that we don't know about our warrior, our ancestor, Harriet Tubman?
Okay, so I think what is very important that's in the book is ultimately readers should come away with a renewed sense of appreciation for her
Mm-hmm.
resilience as well as courage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the book might uh, s- inspire them to reflect on their own histories
Mm.
and their importance of preserving the stories that shape cultural identity. Now, while
Okay.
also encouraging activism in, I guess I would say, modern context, much like Tubman did in her time. So that
Mm-hmm.
would mean you would have to go back, check out what your family's history is all about, and see whether or not you also need to write something to leave back part of your legacy. We're
Mm.
not going back, right?
That's up.
We're not going back.
Some people want us to, honey, but we not going back.
We're not going
No,
back.
ma'am.
So,
This
with all that's going on with the DEI,
Mm.
taking all kinds of things away, they think we're going to suffer from that? No,
Mm-mm.
we didn't have it all the time.
Mm-mm.
Harriet Tubman didn't have it at all. She
Facts.
survived.
Mm-hmm.
Don't count on what somebody's going to hand over to you and they give it and take it away.
Absolutely. So this is the time I see this as a renewed call to action for Black America, for
Yes.
us to build up our businesses, build up our communities, work with our churches and our local organizations. If
Mm-hmm.
you haven't already, get involved in your local NAACP, your urban league, fraternities and sororities that are doing the work. Any community based organizations that are on the ground doing the work in our community that are about building our community, get involved. You don't have to join everything, but join
Right.
something and try to move that needle because nobody's coming to save us.
Yes.
Nobody. So we've got to save ourselves. We've got to make sure that our children, that our babies are educated properly, right? And not being given misinformation, but we got to make sure that our
Mm-hmm.
babies are given the correct information. First, get the copy of this book, Harriet Tubman by Miss Rita Daniels, and take the time to pour into the next generation, right? Because at this point, I've got more days behind me than I have in front of me.
Right.
So it's our call to action. What are we going to do to make sure that we're bringing forward the next generation in the same way that Harriet Tubman led folks to freedom, to bring them up to Philadelphia, to
Mm-hmm.
bring them north to New York? We've got to be bringing the generation that's behind us up to make sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful in spite of all of the shenanigans coming out of Washington, in spite of it. That's our call to action. And
Amen.
I'm
Amen.
stepping down off my soapbox.
Oh, no, no. All I'm saying is that it's important. And people have to realize don't be putting off what you need to be doing today.
Mm,
And that is the problem with there are people out there who have the funding that can assist us in getting reopened.
yes.
It's just a matter of they don't fully understand the dynamics right now of what's happening.
Yes. And if I could add, Miss Daniels, is I think we need to shift priorities. Like my sister said, Karen Scott Green, We need to shift priorities. We can stand in line and get these name brand bags. And while we're doing that, there is a movement to erase our existence. And we have history right here. Your history right here. We don't have to wait for somebody to tell us about our own stories. We have it right here. Go to the bookstore, go to harriettubmanlearningcenter.org, buy this book, volunteer, donate. If you go to the harriettubmanlearningcenter.org, there's a donate button. $5 goes a long way. $3 go a long way. Become a reoccurring contributor. We need to make sure that our young people are literate. And there are stats that shows you how many young people cannot read. And our schools are passing our kids and they're illiterate. And that makes no sense.
No
So
child
we
left
do,
behind.
no child left behind. So we can get these books, sit down as a family, make time. Instead of going to the show, make time to sit around and read these books and share the knowledge like our ancestors have. Because that's the only way we can continue to carry those stories. Because Harriet Tubman lives in each and every one of us. She may be your blood, but she's a hero and our victor. Like
Many, yes.
she's the reason that we're all free. I mean, just think about it. I think about I'm from Detroit. The port of Detroit is where the people coming from the underground came through the port of Detroit. That's part of the history of my city before they went over to Canada. That was the last spot. So if you read and learn it, people don't talk about that. But that's a part of my history of my hometown. So it's this woman touches each and every one of us. And I thank you for being on our show, to share with us, and listen, you were on the Today Show. What was it? Today Show or Good Morning? Which one was it, Miss?
The Today Show with El Roker and team.
Oh, you famous.
Yeah.
And
So tell us a little.
the
Tell us
link is
your
out
future
there.
trips.
The
You got
link
some
is out
future
there.
trips.
You can play that anytime. You can add it to this video as well, because there may be some who haven't seen it. And I'm on Facebook,
Yes.
Rita Daniels, and it says Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
You can find me there. And there's so many people who's passing on the video.
Now, tell
Explaining
everybody
to
your lineup of all the trips you have for Black History Month. I know you have a lot of traveling to do. Tell everybody where you're going.
I just came back from last week. I was in Connecticut. I went to, of course, from Connecticut, I went there to Harlem, New York. I went to New York City to do the taping for Today's Show live. It was live. And right after that, we went to United Nations to get, they're putting our book in the United Nations. We were invited to come back. We, of course, met with Queen Mother, who was the person that did the foreword on our book. And just so many things. We did that. That was all last week. And then I went to several other book signings in Connecticut and New York City. Here, then I came back to Georgia, and yesterday I did an event in Sandy Springs.
Yes.
I have the British consulate that I'm going to be at. Today I also went to Kennesaw State University, and we had a crowd of over 100 plus students, parents, and so forth. We also went from there, went to lunch. That was a long day. And then, so then next week I've got the British consulate in Buckhead. We have the Georgia Center in Decatur. We have, Let me see. I'm trying to do these all up front
Well,
here.
I know you
There's
have
just
a full.
many for this month, and
Mm-hmm.
several schools
Mm-hmm.
also. And the main thing is, in order for me to come to your state or anything like that, just give us a call. My daughter is my assistant. Uh, Reach out, go to our website or anything like that, or my email is out there, daniels.rita09@gmail, and we can catch on that. And if you want us or me to come and visit, the expenses have to be covered. Okay, they have
Yeah,
to be covered on your end. That's
I am
important.
I am not mad at you for that.
I know that's right.
And
Honey,
just know that we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So whatever you donate, make sure you write it up when you do your taxes,
That's
so that
right.
because
was
that's
that
how.
email, that email was daniels.rita09@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Rita. You are amazing. And I still can't believe that you're the young age of 70, honey. You look great. You are traveling all over this country and you are preserving the name and the legacy.
I
Um,
personally think she added about 15 years on that, man, but it's
Well,
okay.
thank you for so much, but I show my license. But it's true. But yeah, um,
yes.
only thing I want people to understand is that this school is necessary right now. A lot of funding is coming out now for people to send their children to private schools,
Mhm.
taking them out of the public schools. Remember, a lot of the public school things that they had, they're eliminating.
Mhm.
So we don't want our children to be left behind.
Yes.
You have to make sure that your children get what they need, the education. I have volunteers, relatives that are right here in Georgia. They volunteer. I've got people all over who want to be part of the Harriet Tubman Learning Center. We just need people to step up. If you're a millionaire, come on, help us out.
Yes.
You
Man.
may not be a millionaire, but you do want to see a school open. Reach out to some of the people you know that can help put this together. I can't do it myself. I need everyone's help. And
Yes.
that's what I'm letting everyone know. We're not going to let our children fall behind.
Amen.
Amen
Amen.
to that. And with that, I'm going to ask the last question, Sister Cat, which Cat normally asks. Sister Rita, how do you take care of your mental health? What do you do to recharge for your spiritual well being?
Well, I am definitely spiritually um, active. I used to serve on the ministry team at my church. As I got older, COVID, everything changed, So I watched my church on television a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that I need to get back in there and do what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I do, I watch what I drink. I drink a lot of water. I'm
Yes.
not I'm not a Pepsi, Coke. If it's dark, I'm not going to drink it. Um, Clear drinks, I might have a ginger ale once in a while or so, but I'm trying to eat healthy. Sometimes it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it's okay. But trying to exercise, I'm not doing like I should.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is stay spiritually involved.
Mm.
Read your word, understand your word. And there's times that I can go a week without doing and I'm like, okay, I know what I didn't do, but I need to catch up on all these scriptures. And a lot of it is putting God first.
Yes.
I cannot do anything without Him.
Amen.
Amen.
The center of my life,
Mm-hmm.
He comes first. And that's what I encourage others. But please, please, please reach out and Send me messages or anything if you know where we can get. And plus, we're looking for buildings
Yes.
for the Learning Center. We need the Learning Center for
Mm-hmm.
our failing children. I'm working with some children right now. The child is in the second grade, still can't read.
Mm.
He can't sound off his letters. When I sat with him, I went to DC, sat with him. His mother was like, "Wow, this is the most that he's ever." And that was only for a half an hour before I had
Wow.
an event to go to. But we do STEAM, we do robotics, we do mentoring, we do even uh, over. We've had children who are mentally challenged. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, we have helped them. Giving them something to build is all they needed,
Mm-hmm.
and so
It's,
it's important.
amen. You do
Absolutely. Go
so
ahead.
much great work. And again, to all our listeners, please visit the Harriet Tubman Learning Center.org. You can learn a lot about their programs, from the STEM programs, literacy, acting preparation, technology training, early learning phonics, and GED programs, just to name a few. So please go out to the Harriet Tubman Learning Center.org, and you can learn everything about the organization, more about Miss Rita, and how to get in contact with her and her team members, and how you can donate and sponsor. And make sure you check out the book. It's a QR code in the book. I held it up. Scan that QR code and grab you a book. You can find that book on different platforms, but please buy it directly from the Learning Center so those dollars can go straight to the organization. And please volunteer. And if you know someone that has deeper pockets, tell them come on and make that donation, right? Because when you're helping these kids, we're helping our future, and it really increases poverty when you can't read, right? So it's very important that we help these families support one another. And Miss Rita, I cannot thank you enough. We are just totally honored, and thank you, sister. I can't say I'm gonna start crying, but I love you. I thank you so very much for your time, your talent, and for you dedicating your life to help our people be stronger and more literate, so that we're not behind. So thank you for that so very much.
And thank you. I just want to say it was nice speaking with you all, and the message must be carried on.
Yes.
I'm doing the best I can with whoever invites me. I will do whatever I can to be a part of it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And for those of you who want to learn more about the Harriet Tubman Learning Center, that's Harriet Tubman Learning Center.org. And you can also contact Miss Daniels directly at daniels.rita09@gmail.com so that you can book her for your events or to have her to come out to your school or organization and tell you about that wonderful book that she has written that we all need to know more about. As you can see, Cap holding it up. And again, for those of you who are listening, the book is Harriet Tubman, and it is written by Rita Daniels, she is a third great niece of Harriet Tubman, also known as Arminta Ross.
And I just
Uh,
want to say one last thing.
yes,
That
ma'am.
book
Yes,
is
ma'am.
co-written with Jean Marie Wiesen. Um,
Okay.
and just so you know, the very first book that was co-written with Harriet Tubman was with Sarah Bradford. That's Jean Marie. And it was with a white woman and Harriet Tubman. This book was co-written with Jean. She also, it happens to be a white person. And that's the very first, well, second book that was written with a relative or directly with Harriet Tubman. And
Wow.
so that was 1886, and that was with Sarah Bradford,
Mm-hmm.
who wrote so they can raise money for the home for the aged, for those people who are attending there. So, yes, please, please, please reach out
Yes.
and
And
touch
here's
Thank
the
some
QR
you.
lives.
code. Amen. 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 Scan this QR code, family. Grab the book. All y'all tech savvy people, scan this QR code. Everybody else, go ahead and go out to that website and support this organization and support the cause and keep Harriet Tubman's work alive.
I can get
So
it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They have them in stock right now. Any other bookstore, you just go to my website. You can also purchase it from there as well, if you'd like.
Yeah, but if they get it directly from your website, you get all the proceeds. So we would prefer if you go to Harriet
I don't
Tubman Learning
know.
Center.
I don't really know. No one's ever told
I'm,
me that.
I'm telling you because I am in the process of writing a children's book, and I'm learning all about this self-publishing because my son and I are self-publishing the book, and I'm
mhm.
discovering so many things. How it is so important that if you've self-published or if you've gotten something published and you're not doing it through Amazon, you get a greater cut
Yeah,
if you don't
well,
go through Amazon.
we're with Pegasus. It's
Okay,
it's with a publisher, so
okay,
we're not self-publishing,
got
and
it.
yeah,
But I think Amazon still
hopefully,
takes a good
I
cut.
yeah,
But anyway, if they get it from you, you get a bigger cut,
we'll
even if
see.
you're not self-publishing.
Look, I will see.
So let's do that. And with that, I want to thank you all for joining us on this episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Where we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.